you go. What's up, guys? John Sentes, Brad Berto, Cutternation podcast. We miss our guy. First, if you haven't liked or subscribed to the pod, please do it. We have got some amazing things going on. We are at the beginning of July 4th weekend, going right in July 4th tomorrow. Summer training's been going well. The facility is jacked. It's jam-packed. My general manager yelled at me for running this podcast right now, so hopefully we'll keep it fast, we'll keep it efficient and informative. But Brad, we miss you. I can't wait to get updated on your situation. So where are you? What are you doing? I forgot who you are.
That's a loaded question, John, but I miss you guys too. Right now, I'm currently in the Bronx, New York right now. I'm sitting in my car right now. I'm on East 145th Street. I'm staying with a friend right here. It's been a long journey away from San Diego ever since I left back in March. So what we did just to we never really got to talk about like what I was doing. I mean, we have, but like really share what I've been up to. So ever since I left, we started out in Florida. Basically, I've been chasing an indie ball contract, right? A professional contract. And in order to do that, I've been trying to play as many games in front of the right people, which includes scouts, managers, agents, everybody, etc. So what I did was we started out in Florida, played a whole month there, about a game almost every day, about 5-6 games a week, in front of some indie ball managers, in front of Joe Torre and the Black Sox, right? Shout out to Joe Torre. He's been great in providing opportunities and guiding people on what they need to do to get it, not just to get a contract, but to really live this baseball lifestyle, right? It's because it's not just about playing games. It's not just about going to tryouts. It's, can you deal with all the things off the field? Can you get to all these places? Can you support yourself? Can you finance your baseball career? And obviously, I'm very grateful that Cutternation has allowed me to do that. And then, which has made it really easy for me to focus on the baseball, knowing that I have a support system behind me. And they left me with all the best training and all the best tools to really be successful this year, right? I feel like I had a lot of success, right? I'm still not signed, but I'm just being patient, right? I'm doing my thing. I'm playing very well, and I'm just waiting for the right place, right time for the opportunity. So from Florida, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I when you were explaining everything, it brought me back to my experience as well. You know, a lot of people, maybe it's been a long time, but myself in the middle of nowhere, no job, you know, trying to find, you know, somebody to say, yes, please. You know, even my story of getting to the Pecos League is wild because I go to the Frontier League tryout, get into the Frontier League team, do really well, but there's no room because I'm a rookie. And then I'm driving from Cleveland to Florida to New Mexico, over to the Pecos League, and then, you know, getting your name on Baseball Reference is huge. So, you know, I commend you on the we've talked about this too at length about how difficult it is just to win somebody over and make them, you know, change their mind about somebody. And it's impressive to see you. It's good to hear you in good spirits too, man. You sound like you're doing well. You're doing okay mentally. I know it can get hard. That's probably the roughest part.
Yeah. Well, what's really helped is that, like, I've been able to enjoy the experience, right? And not just put all this pressure on getting signed, right? So I went to all these cool places, you know, because there's life outside of baseball also, right? And what I've learned is that when your life is going well off the field, it kind of translates to on the field, right? You know, everyone tries to separate the two, but when your life's kind of like all messed up and jumbled up off the field, and it's really hard to just turn that all off and be successful, right? When everything's kind of going in the same direction, right? It's a lot easier to have success, to enjoy it, to enjoy the time off the field, to enjoy the areas you're at, right? So same thing. I got lucky that I never had to play in the Pecos, right? Because I've heard, you know, a lot of weird things about it, but in 2020 was like my first year of pursuing indie ball, and I got really lucky that COVID actually helped Joe Torre create the Yinzer Pro Baseball League, right? And in 2020, it was a legit league with legit pros, right? Those 4 teams. It was on Baseball Reference, so that's my first professional experience, numbers on Baseball Reference, and I did well there. And I played with guys who, you know, played affiliate ball, AA. Brandon Phillips was in that league, right? On all these guys, a lot of the guys are still playing in the American Association Atlantic League, right? So And that was a really good first thing for me to go to instead of the Pecos League or doing a bunch of other random stuff Now, the years after that, I had my injuries, had all that, and we dealt with that. And, that's when I found Cutternation, and I was able to really focus on things like my body, my health, my finances, and really slow down and really set myself up for a successful 2023 season. And, the work that I did versus, training wise and Cutternation wise is really, I feel like it's gave me a good foundation to have success and last the whole year. Right. So from Florida, right, we're talking about driving all these places, right? So I drove from California to Florida, and then from there we had the road tour, which was a hell of an experience. I cannot wait to share all my stuff. The experience I had on Joe Torre's road tour, where we go and we play against the indie ball teams in their spring trainings, right? We play against them, and then with obviously the intention to get signed. But what it really, what those games did for me was really give me a lot more professional experience on how to show up to the field, what the competition was like, what the routines were like, what the stadiums was like, what the clubhouses were like, right? And having success there gave me a lot of confidence going the rest of the way, because I knew I could play against with those Atlantic League guys, the American guys, and hit off all those pitchers and do the things that I need to do. So when I do get picked up, I'll be ready to go, knowing I can compete at that level.
Yeah, it's. I want to talk about your development that we
Absolutely.
did. From your opinion, you and I have always tried to push the envelope of what training is, and probably no, you are. You for sure. You're the first pro guy on the hitting side that understood what I was saying, right?
Right.
Like from the jump. Like you showed up. I remember day one, you're like, I'm here for live at bats. And I'm like, oh my God, who are you?
Yeah.
I can't wait for this. This is
Yeah.
fun. And so from your perspective, on the effectiveness, I understand, I know what you're gonna say, but this sound clip's gonna be important because we're gonna use it. But what do you feel was the difference for the because to me, you showed up confident. You were that guy. You never wavered on what I saw, that you were the person. That's where we vibed. You were the same guy every day, no matter what. Even me, I could have given up 100 runs
Yeah.
in live at bats, and I'm just gonna, all right, sweet, let's, that was fun,
That was fun.
and move on. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. That was a blast. And there
Real
were
quick
many
on that day,
times,
I
right?
remember
Like,
that day I went like 0 for 7 in live at bats. I probably struck out 3 or 4 times. There was one day like that, and I was really mad. Right, I was really mad. But after that, I was like, all right, it's all good, whatever. It's one of those days. But yeah, live at bats and facing all these pitchers, facing you, facing Taylor, Eric. So, and it's just finding a way to make training harder than the game. Right, in baseball, it's really hard to do that because the game is so hard. Right, but there are ways that we found to do that. Obviously, live at bats is number one. Live at bats is king, right? And you face guys that are better than you, right? You face either pitchers or hitters that are above you, right? That are better, that played more ball than you, have done more things, right? Maybe throw harder, do whatever, right? You really get to learn how to hit those pitchers, right? It was going deeper for me as a hitter than just swing training, right? It's hitting training, how to make decisions, right? Timing, right? Making decisions at the right time and stuff, and how to deal with the mental ups and downs, right? And what we call is being in the fire for that long. I remember the first time we did live at bats, it was like 3 hitters versus 8 pitchers, right? And we all got like 20, 30 at bats. And that was like the first time I was like gassed from just taking at bats. Like my body was sore from just taking at bats, right? And it's just like being in that fire for so long helped me really kind of when I felt that tiredness in the game, especially mentally, right? Like my fourth, fifth at bat of the game, like maybe you're 0 for 3 and you don't want that fourth at bat, right? But that fourth at bat is probably the biggest one because you come in a situation where you need an RBI knock, right? Or you got to do something to help the team out, right? So I was like, okay, I've done this before, right? And also, so one of the biggest things, like I think we talked about this in the last time we did a podcast, but if the pitcher is not better than John Sentes, he's not good. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so that kind of gave me a lot of confidence. Like, oh, this guy curveball sucks. This guy, oh, it's a cutter guy, right? But I've seen so many of those already. It's all good. I know how to hit those. So it's just that training that we did with live at bats, advanced BP, where we take you and we shorten the distance to make it harder on the hitter, right? And we take our machine and crank it up and do all these different types of pitches, right? It's better. It's it's made me confident now that I've done the hard work in the off season. So now, like, my in-season work is really fast, bang, bang. I could take some T-swings. There was one point in the Yinzer, the past season that I just did, I took BP maybe about 3-4 times that whole time. Right? It was quick T-swings, quick two rounds off the machine, boom, done. Right? I'll just show up to the field, boom, get my knocks, hit my doubles, and I didn't have to worry about it. I was stress-free. It was great.
Yeah, that's sick. That's it's we love. You have a phrase. Can you tell me your phrase about hitting before?
Oh yeah, don't cramp for the test. If you study before, you're ready.
I love that.
All the people that got to take BP, got to get all their fields in, all their drills in, 2 hours before the game, whatever. Like, I don't even need BP. So, like, we've done all that.
Yeah. What else? What else is there? Just go.
Just go.
Yeah, I love that.
If we can show and go in golf, right, we should be able to show and go in baseball. I mean, that's what we're actually good at.
Yeah, if we can show and go in golf, that's good. Yeah. That'll be the title of the pod right there.
Yeah,
that's dope.
We can show and go shirt.
Right. So take me through, the Yinzer League. First of all, let's start with the stats because you told us about it and I read it, but I had to read it like 3 times. I went to Eric and I was like, am I reading this right? Are these numbers correct? Because this is wild.
Yeah. It was right. They're right. Like, one, the Yinzer, here, thing about the Yinzer. So what the Yinzer is, it's a free agent league ran by Joe Torre and the Black Sox, right? And what it is, it's a great avenue for people to continue playing when they're not signed, right? So whether they're free agents looking to get a job or whether they just got released, right? A lot of people call it Joe Torre, right? What do I do? You know what I mean? Come play in the Yinzer, stay ready, keep playing, right? So we played a game pretty much every day. A couple double headers, a couple days off, but we played a total of 30 games in 1 month. So what the Yinzer did for me was I got to take all the stuff I learned from Florida, all the stuff I learned on the tour, and really hone in on it in the Yinzer, right? And surprising enough, right? You saw me in live at bats, right? I'm swinging. The one thing I took from the Yinzer was how to really feel the strikes on auto takes, right? I've never auto taken so much in my life, but you know what it led to? It led to I learned how to really score runs. Right? If we talk about changing the score, right? That's our philosophy. You only get so many chances to score some runs, right? And one of my goals in the Yinzer was to lead the league in hits, runs scored, and bags, right? Those, me being the size that I am, leadoff hitter, maybe 1, 2, 7, 8, 9 guy. Those are things I'm not going to be the bomb guy, right? I hit one bomb in 100 at bats, right? That's not a power hitter, right? But what I did do was I filled up counts. I took my walks. I got my knocks. I got my 2-out knocks. I got all my runs scored. I got my bags, right? And what that did was it allowed our team to score a lot of runs, when we're hitting or not, right? So like what the Padres are doing right now, they have all these all-stars that should be banging, but when they're not scoring runs.
Right.
So what I would love to see out of the Padres would be, a little more small ball, fill up counts, right? How many times I've seen guys swing first pitch and ground into a double play, right? And that, boom, that just takes all the pressure off the pitcher.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing, or like if long innings, everyone should know after you come off a long inning on defense, like you kind of have to fill it up on the second one, right? And what I'm going to go back to the training. What the training helped me do was I was not afraid for any pitcher there, even the best ones there. I was not afraid to get to 2 strikes. Right. I've never auto taken 3-1 so much in my life. Right? I was like, all right, throw me one more strike and then let's go. Then all right, boom, all right, ball 4. All right, cool.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna steal my bag. Exactly. You guys didn't even see the record that my team had. So the team I was on, we won so many games that we scratched the playoffs. We were like 24-4. And we had guys batting 100. We guys had batting under 200. We had maybe 3 or 4 guys batting 300. Right, 2 or 3 guys, and everyone else. But what those guys understood, right, maybe at the bottom of the lineup, even me, was like, all right, they're leading off the inning. There's nobody on. Just fill it up, right? Just fill it up. Take at least 1 strike. You know what I mean? Take at least 1. Go ahead and hit behind in the count, right? Like, you can ground out 3-2 all day, right? A ground out on 3-2 is way better than a ground out 0-0 or even 1-0. Like, people get to 1-0 and then ground out, right? And then that just makes pitcher's job so much easier. So, like, all right, I would go 1-0 if I'm leading off the inning, right? Like a lot of times in college, I loved hitting the first pitch of the game, right? I loved hitting that first pitch. I knew it was going to be a fatty, but this time I barely swung first pitch of the game. I was like, all right, 1-0. All right, cool. 1-0 is a great pitch to swing on, but if I'm leading off the inning, right, I'm going to make him throw another strike. So, all right, boom, 1-1. Okay, 1-1. Okay, if I'll get a fatty, I'll swing. Right, 2-1. Okay, 2-1. All right, I don't need to swing here. Boom, 3-1. All right, 3-1, auto take. 3, all right, boom, 3-2. All right, now let's go. Right, boom, I foul a couple off. Right, whatever. Either I get on, I get a knock, or I get out. Right, but at that time, I had already seen 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pitches. So what happens is when those first two guys do that, now it allows the 3, 4 guys, right, to get their pitches, right? If a pitcher's working hard to get those first 2 guys out, maybe a guy gets on, maybe he walks a guy. Now he's going to be a little bit more aggressive with those 3, 4 guys. You can't be as careful with those guys. And we had 3, 4, 5 guys that can do the same thing, hit with 2 strikes, fill up the counts when they needed to, or go swing it when there's runners in scoring position and they needed to hit. So we scored a lot of runs. And then just one of the other biggest things I learned was if you do the right thing on the baseball field, you will get rewarded. Right, when you're 0 for 2, right, or whatever, and this runner first and second, right, I don't want to bunt, I want to hit, but if I bunt a guy over, you'll get rewarded for that, right? If I don't want to fill it up, I'm like, oh, I want to swing first pitch, but I take and I fill up the count for the team. Now either I get a walk or next at bat I get a knock. I kept getting rewarded with hits and hits and hits and hits, and just because no matter what, I was trying to do the right thing for the team, and it gave me a lot more confidence. I scored a lot of runs. I did end up leading the league in runs. I was like tied for first in hits, tied for first in doubles. I was tied for first in bags, right? And it just kind of showed that, doing the right thing gave me those results. And that's what I was focused on, was doing the right thing instead of focus on getting those results.
Yeah, that's awesome. One pitch at a time. There's a bunch of messages inside of what you just said right there with, just navigating the game in general. I think it's very under talked about how what you said. And think about it. You just gave a manager / hitting coach's response to the game, but from the player perspective, also showing the math of how that produced runs, right? Like what that did. You exposed a lot that we talk about all the time. How many guys, Berto, can pitch out of the stretch? How many actually can be effective with a runner on first base, get your pitch and get it? And that was one of the things that I prided myself on. Like, sure, there's people that don't even. I asked a coach in here recently, do you know how to get a ground ball? And they couldn't answer. And I was like, that's hilarious, because myself, I know how I would do it. I was just wondering if you knew how to do it, which is also a different feeling altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, runners on first was like less than 2 outs. It was kind of like one of the harder situations. Not in the past, it's been a harder situation for me because like I just felt like I needed to drive the ball in the gap, right? But if I can just if I could just fill it up, at least do that for the teams, get to full count, see 5 pitches, right? More than likely, I'm not going to ground into a double play, right? But if I do end up grounding into a double play, at least I made him work for it. Right, and now that pitcher's annoyed, right? All the pitchers say is like, you guys just take the 2 strikes. It's so annoying. Well, yeah, it's because you guys don't have the stuff to strike us out. You know what I mean? And if you do, great, good for you, right? But at least we made you work. And then what we do, 9-inning game, right? You get the starter out of there in the 5th inning, right? In the 4th or 5th inning, and now, the reliever guys come in, you do the same thing. They can't, and then you just tax on. It all eventually, it just keeps going, and and when everyone's on it, right? That offense is going well. Even when you're not hitting, you're still scoring runs.
Yeah, it's obvious. I've been watching you score runs and do stuff digitally for a while, and so watching that video of you just like smacking ball, just hitting little dumpies and just like here and there and like scoring runs, I was just like really not surprised. He's been doing that to me for a minute.
And that wasn't even all of them. That was only maybe a quarter of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
What was so funny is that all these pitchers were throwing me outside, and I just kept banging doubles off the wall and backside, and I don't know how many times. I guess I'm not gonna go yard that way, so might as well. But it was great, that's when I knew that my swing was good, and then my training was good, because before those fly balls to left were getting caught, right? Now they're at least banging off the wall for doubles, right? And they're not going over just yet, but it's close.
Maybe one more year of becoming even more explosive, more of a Jedi.
I still got way more. Those things are going to go over next year for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch you get deeper and deeper into it, and just be like, yeah, here we go. Here it goes again. So,
I can't wait to come back and really like bring back what I learned for everybody there, because it's really like a different Berto's coming back.
that's cool.
Right. And it's
Well,
gonna be,
and you only get that playing.
yeah.
You know, you only get that like trial and error, like you said. Like, okay, especially the leadoff guy, right? Like you understand your style of like you're trying to create runs, but
Yeah.
your creating runs is going to be a little bit more, you know, Marcus Ginobili kind of like we're gonna get a lot of assists here. We're gonna score some runs, but I'm really gonna try to score from first every time you can. You know.
Right. Right.
And that's your game with that is money.
Yep. Well, that was one thing I struggled with going in like my first year of pro ball, right? Because I was always in college, right? Oh, I'm swinging, right? And that's very college like, right? And that's very college versus the like what counts as swing on when to take the pitch, right? And I struggled with that early, and my numbers kind of showed that. I was getting frustrated and stuff like that. And I can tell with the guys coming in, especially like the free agents, where I was telling them, hey, C1, C2, don't take them 2 strikes. I was like, but I want to swing. That first pitch is me. But how many times do you get out on the first pitch? Right? If you're batting 400 on the first pitch, if you swing the bat, you're more than likely to get out.
Yeah.
Right. And people get mad, and then like, oh, look there he goes swinging at the first pitch again, and now he's pissed, right? I'm like, dude, if you just did the right thing, at least you could feel good about the at bat.
Yeah, for sure.
At least feel good. Like we did all. Like people were asking me, like, Berto, what do you think here? I was like, oh, C1, or swing away. I'm like, hey, maybe bunt one, like, and then I've eventually like the whole team just got on the same page. Like, yep, on the same, yep. They were happy to do it, right? They might end up striking out, but they saw 5-6 pitches.
That's a great point too, right?
Come up, and boom, they get a fat pitch.
Right. God forbid we're all on the same page of scoring runs, right, guys?
Yeah.
Everybody, we're just trying to score. There's so many different ways to score. Maybe we should just try a bunch of different ways to score.
Yep. And when everyone's the vibe of the dugout was we talk about the vibe at the training facility. The vibes in our dugout they were great. When everyone's on the same page, nobody's worried. Everyone's staying positive, right? Everyone is for the team. Right, then it becomes just way more fun to play. Like the teams that we're beating, we can tell like their dugout it just looked like people weren't having fun on the other side.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, so I hate to be in that dugout, Got them over here. And then,
Berto, that wouldn't be our vibe. For sure, that wouldn't be our vibe. We're like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
somebody turn the music on. What's going on?
For sure. For sure. Are you guys mad? What are you guys getting so mad for? Stuff like that.
Yeah, why are you so mad?
Yeah.
Well, that's dope, man. I'm excited for that. I can't wait to get a breakdown. I'm sure we were going to make a video and do some good stuff from that. With the pitching that you saw, right, compared to what you trained, do you feel like you accurately were able to? I mean, granted, you haven't even seen the new iPitch, so that's going to be a whole other realm for you there. Is the pitching? Were you able? Obviously, I'm a unique shape of a pitcher, right? Not only with my size, but like how I throw the baseball.
Right.
Were you able to? We talked about before about categorizing pitchers, and certainly, like I'm a downhill cutter guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many did you see any new? Did you see any new species out there?
New species of pitcher. Well, first of all, I would say like with the pitching training, with all the the pitchers that I faced, like it just raised my standard of pitcher, right? Like I said before, they have to be better than John Sintas in order for me to consider them good.
Very good.
Right. But what helped me out more was just every day just listening to you guys talk about pitching and throwing, right? And obviously I'll be training my arm with you guys too, right? I can see things way sooner, And it's cool that Brian's out here with me too. Well, he was in the Inzer, right? And he just confirmed. He's like, oh yeah, I can see them when they're going like this. They're cutting around it. The arm path is late. If they're opening up early, the downswinging guys, like, okay, if they're breaking like this, he's gonna miss arm side every time. If he's a cutter guy, if he misses arm side, he's gonna, if he misses fastball arm side, he's gonna come back to the cutter. And it was just things like I saw things way earlier. And I saw the way their arm action works, so I knew exactly beforehand how their pitches were gonna work.
That's great, dude. That's cool. That's really cool. That's some high level stuff that think about it. Like you've been probably thinking this way for a while, right? But you've been around us 2 years, right? I think before
a little over 2 years now.
But Brian had only been around maybe 6 months or so. But plus he was up and down, right? So even him seeing all the stuff and understanding, it's cool that you guys. And did you go? Obviously, you guys were on the same team.
No, we were playing against each other the whole time.
Oh, that's even worse.
Well, they couldn't.
Yeah.
The thing is, they couldn't. Like, dude, if Brian was on my team, it wouldn't even be fair.
Well, it already wasn't fair if you won
But
24 games.
on paper, it was. Is actually we had less signed guys who've been. We had 2 guys in our lineup that had been signed, right? Whereas on the other teams, right, they had like 4, 5, 6 guys all had been signed, right? And, the pitching, they kind of dispersed the pitching enough to try to make it equal, right? So the pitching was about the same, right? But our lineup was just like everyone's on the same page. The vibes are good, you know what I mean? And then when it was time to came to swing the bat, we could swing the bat and catch those barrels and hit the bombs that we needed to. So it was just, I mean, it was a lot of fun just winning all those ball games. And having Brian over there, you could tell like the difference in that bat, you know what I mean? The difference, like, oh, he's seeing things really well, you know what I mean? He's he was just confident. You could see the swings that he was taking. Almost every single swing he took was an A swing. And it's like, oh shoot, now he's a threat, and stuff like that.
Love seeing the upgraded, threat levels of our guys too, where they're, well, you probably shouldn't mess around with him. You might, get smacked.
Yeah, Brian came out the gate hot too. He went 3 for 4 with a bomb. Every single ball he hit was an absolute barrel, probably 100, just line out, right? And then people started fearing him out a little more, right? They threw him sliders. They just lived away with him, got him chasing those sliders. But then, towards the end, he was like, he kind of learned how to spin on those. And just when he got his pitch, he was hitting almost every single ball hard, and it was great. And, it was super fun to watch because, like, oh yeah, that's my guy.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. It's always fun, even if you're playing against him on the field. You're like, unless you're not pitching,
dude, it was even more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It was even more fun. I'm talking shit. You know what I mean? We're trash talking because he lived with me, right? Yeah. Like he comes home and say, "Hey, Berto, we finally beat you guys." After all times and stuff about us.
I can see Brian doing that. He's great.
Yeah, he was awesome. It was great. Everybody loved him out here too, and he's definitely one of the next catchers to go out for sure. And that's what I told him, bro. He's the best catcher.
That's cool. That's awesome. Good. He deserves it, man. They never took no for an answer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What you got to do?
Kind of sucked was that like 2 catchers that got released from the Atlantic League showed up right as he showed up too. So automatically that kind of puts him down on the depth chart. But as you understand, all right, this guy has 100 games in the Atlantic League, so but Brian, you can be better than those guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely stacked up. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And he saw that he stacked up. He's like, oh, dude, yeah, I got it. Yeah,
it
was great.
I talked about this in a podcast recently with Jake Savicki and Nick Tanner, College Burnout. We were talking about like being comfortable actually being there, right? Like, for example, I was telling about Evan Weed, who you did the analysis with, and who, like, now I ask him this question every day, and Chile Smith, I ask him that too. Hey, I go, hey, are you gonna play college baseball? And every time they're like, yep, absolutely, right? And it was because Evan played in a collegiate game. He literally was like, oh, this is it. I'm like, yeah, dude, they're all like a little bit better than where you are right now. You're fine. And this kid's, junior year, going into junior year right now. And so, like, by the way, he said it today. If you watch that video again, hey, look, Ken Griffey on the end of it. Little, yeah. If you watch, there's a boomer he hit out right after our live AB day that we hit, and you can see he's got that like little, the way he drops the bat behind him. I'm like, there's a little Ken Griffey Jr. in you, kid. And he's like, really? And I'm like, you didn't even know?
What's so funny is like when I did that call with him, right? The first thing he asked me was, "Hey, do you see anything wrong with my swing?" Right? You could only imagine how that went, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we probably spent about 30, 45 minutes talking, and we didn't get to talking about his swing in probably about minute 35. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure he learned a lot. I hope he did. But he was very responsive, and he's like, "Oh yeah, all that makes sense." You know what I mean? So, and that's how we train. He has a pretty good swing. He has a really good swing. And he's telling, he was striking out striking out a lot. And then I just kind of told him the ways, like how to really evaluate his at-bats, not just on the swing. And he took a lot from that, and it was great.
Yeah, he's been a completely different kid since really probably that game and the conversation with you, where he's way more focused and understanding like what's going on, and now he's like, now he's actually chasing the numbers in the right way. He understands what he's trying to do. And he's like, I think he told me the other day, like each week he's gotten a half a mile an hour out of his PR.
There you go.
And I'm like, oh, you're gonna be 16 with 100 exit velo. And he's like, that's the goal. I'm like, sick.
There you go.
I said, just to let you know, Dean Navarez has the record at 113. He's like, 113. I'm like, goals, kid. Hey, Dean Navarez is like 10 years older than you. You
Yeah,
got 10 years to get 10 miles an hour. You're going to be fine, dude. You're
yeah,
going to be fine.
you're
Just
fine.
keep going.
With those MLB baseballs too. You know what I mean? 110s, 115s you see out there with those MLB baseballs.
Oh my God.
There's
I
one
mean,
time,
the
well, there's
balls have just
one time
been
where
wild lately.
right. And then there's one time, my numbers were, were right around 100, mid to upper nines, hit a few 100. But then I hit one, like they just had it like a stalker, right? We didn't have hit tracks, but then one of my guys told me, like, I hit one backside off the wall, right? And one of my guys said, "Yo, Berto, that was he goes, that was 97 off the bat." I was like, "Ooh, backside in the air? There you go." So I knew where I was at. You know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
that's a hard hit in the air backside. There you go. Like, ooh, I'll take that. So I know those balls I'm hitting poolside. Those are, that's it's right where I want.
Hey,
I'm right.
you got a guy in the comments here.
Yeah,
Will, hey, what up, Brad?
up,
Pleasure
Will?
to meet you at the Windsor.
One of the best dugout guys there is, right? There's guys that don't have feel, don't when you're on the bench, right? You gotta have feel, right, of how to act and what to do on the bench, man. This guy, Will Himmerich, man, he did him and Midnight Moose, and they're two local guys from Washington, and they loved hanging out with us, and they did almost any single job in the dugout that you asked them to do without even asking. Right, so they're throwing balls back to the center fielder, first baseman. They're doing bat boy. They're coaching for. They're warming up the right field. They're spotting the guys in the bullpen, right? And they're being positive, right, and stuff like that. And those are the guys you want to have in the dugout, right? Not the guy who's pissed that he's not playing and not doing shit, right? Or he just struck out slamming his helmet, right? You don't want to play with those guys. But Will Himmerich and Midnight Moves, those guys were welcome to any dugout, never in. So they were awesome. It was great.
Yeah. Sounds like it, dude. Yeah, it was I remember so many guys that I was that guy in the Pecos for sure because there were nobody, and
Yeah.
our situation, I'm not sure if I told you about our manager, but we basically had like 1.5 coaches is what I call it. Our manager, Bill Moore, RIP, was a this is how I met him. This is the greatest story I've ever talked about this guy right here. He literally introduced himself to me as Bill Moore, former Navy SEAL car dealership / strip club owner. I went, where's the baseball, man? Where's
Right.
like that's what you led with? And he's like, well, I had some businesses back in the day, but those supported my baseball addiction. I said, okay, I can feel you here. That'll work,
Yeah.
But yeah, that league was just wild. But anyway, he had diabetes. He was 80 years old. Coaching third. So our assistant coach was doing everything.
Yeah.
So like I was kind of the one like, hey, you want me to go to the pen and just give you one of these or something?
Yeah.
Like I'll just. He's like, oh, would you? I'm like, yeah, sure, man, I got you.
Yeah.
I'll walk down there. Yeah, I'm a starter. What else am I doing for 5 other days?
Right.
So, let's go into some little. Let's do a little lightning round. Favorite field you played at in this trip?
Favorite
and why? And why?
Cleveland Railroaders probably had to be my favorite, right? One, like, it was in Texas. I got to stay with my family there, right? My aunt and uncle, they came to watch me play. The clubhouse was great. The clubby was great. The spread was great. The field was awesome. And we got to play a whole series. And now I figured out that Cleveland Railroaders, they're like the number 1 team in the American, right? And I freaking banged against them. I went like 4 for 12, a walk, right? 2 doubles, right? And so like I did really well against guys who were throwing 95, right? And I faced a lefty throwing 96, 97, got a knock off him. And it was just a really good experience. That was probably my favorite experience on the road tour because I got to really just do that. Played 4 games against them too. So it was great.
Yeah, clip that.
Yeah.
For sure. Clip that. Yeah. That was dope. Okay. Best hit. Where did it go? Who was it against?
On the tour, Yinzer. Well, okay, let's see. Best hit. I liked my ones in Charleston. I liked my ones in Lexington. I let off with like a line out to center, but it's like I had really good barrels there. But I mean, it's got to be the bomb I hit in the Yinzer. It was like off the top of the scoreboard. It was really far. So that was probably that one felt good. So I'm gonna go with that one.
A bomb in the Yinzer. Woo!
Yeah.
Awesome. Do we get a video of that? Do we have that?
So the stream actually cut. I was so, I mean, whatever, but it's whatever. But the stream like glitched right as the pitcher's in the windup. It kind of glitch and buffers, and all you hear is whack, and then it kind of cuts, and then it's me rounding first base. So whatever.
Okay. All right. On the road. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go to gas station snack.
Oh, go to gas. Okay, well, Sheets is definitely the best one, best gas station out there. Right.
Sheets. Where's that
at? There's some in Pennsylvania, right? It's kind of like that area.
Okay.
Right? I think it's a big, but it's, you can make to order food. The coffee there was great. Let's see, what I recently just get. So I had to get either some kind of sweet, salty, right? I drank a lot of sparkling water, drank a lot of coffee, and I ate a lot of pork rinds and peanut butter M&Ms.
Wow.
Yeah, those are my go-tos for sure.
All right. Best new food place. Yeah, I know you're a foodie.
Oh,
I know you're a foodie. You posted the cheesesteak. I was so upset that I was not there for the cheesesteak.
Okay, I haven't posted all the things in New York, but I've been here in New York for like 2 days now, and I've eaten some things that are just different. And like, you know, my boy Lou's taking me to all these spots, right? First day we had like pizza, beef patty with cheese. Then he just took me to this place last night and got a little palito de queso, right? It's a little fried cheese stick, and it's like, man, this shit is different, right? You only get these in New York. Like the pizza and the cheesesteak, right? It's good, right? It's great, but I feel like you can get New York pizza anywhere, and you can feel like you can get a really good Philly cheesesteak in other places, right? But this beef patty with cheese and this palito de queso, right? So far, and first thing I ate was this little. He called it an icy, right? And it's just lady on the corner filling these Dixie cups with different flavored snow cones, right? And man, it was unlike any icy I've ever had. It was better than 7-Eleven slush cheese. It was better than Hawaiian shave ice. This was New York on the corner ices. It was freaking unbelievable. Wow. It was crazy. Yeah.
All right. Didn't even know about the New York ice game.
Dude, I didn't know about it either. We're getting icy. I don't really want icy right now. But he gave me some choice and gave it to me.
What was I, 10?
It's just different. It's in a Dixie cup, so you're just like, licking in and like squeezing it out. It was great. It was awesome.
That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. Okay. So, yeah, we got a bunch of comments on that, right? Logan's saying what's up in there, too. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, summing up your experience so far, we've tested, we had training, we've tested training, we've really trying to go out some stuff. You were able to go out into the wild, right? Yep. Give me a 1 to 10, right? And why that you think that the training was what was the number one takeaway to the training?
10 out of 10, no doubt.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, because not just with the live at bats part we did, right? Not because I was able to face all these pitchers, right? And over the off season, like I just felt more prepared, right? And it was the strength training we did, right? The throwing training we did. Like one of the biggest things was me being able to stay healthy all year long, right? And be able to throw all year long and do all that. And so far, my arm's great, right? My legs are great. I know how to work out. I know how to do all these things. I understand what I need to do to be ready physically, mentally, skill wise, but it's all around. So the strength training, live at bats, throwing, every single part of what we did has helped me really just last the whole year and succeed the whole year.
Yeah, that brings me to another point I was wondering about. So, and this is going to be risky on what I'm saying. So you did zero or very minimal, I would say, not zero, minimal defensive training. I believe it was one.
Oh yeah,
1 day a week.
1 day a week, and that was only like in January, right? In January, I was and it was just for me to get in condition to just run balls down, maybe run the bases, right? One thing I wish I did a little more was more long toss on the field and more throwing to bases, right? Because, obviously throwing indoors, right? It's good for strength and health and stuff like that. But when it comes to doing the move and getting spin throw, getting the guy out, right? Full speed, throwing to the bat and have it be on the money, right? That's the one thing that, I did do some of that, right? But I wish I did a little bit more of it, right? Just because early on, my throws were just were either I spiked it or just a little up. They were never left or right. I always missed up or down, right? And most of the time, I was spiking my throws just because I wanted to miss down. But what I wasn't used to was how much the ball took off out of my hand, right? And Andy thought the same thing when he finally came around and started learning to throw and stuff. Right, he's like, you feel he almost sailed one. He's like, oh shoot, I barely put anything on that team, just took off. Right, I can see how you just lose some. Right, So that part of actually throwing the bases and being accurate was one of the main things. But I was able to do that in Florida, right? Do that as I played, right? I was able to work on that as I played. I didn't need to do that for hours and hours and hours. I didn't need to take ground balls. I was, my defensive training in the mornings at the field where it's like, all right, I'm taking 3 ground balls, 3-3, and then 3 fly balls, and then that was it. And then get my sprints in just to make sure my legs are fresh, and that was pretty much about it.
That's hilarious. Yeah. You took 9 fly balls.
No, not even 9. Not even 9. 9 ground balls.
Oh.
And like 5, 6 ground fly balls.
Oh wow, that's
a lot of running. That's a lot of sprints. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just right in front of me. It's like
for sure.
left and boom. And then when defensive training, it was all right. I'm working on straight back. Like I want you to send it. You know what I mean? Because anyone can do the routine ones, but it's the ones where I got to put my head down, steal a hit in the gap, right? So good outfielders steal hits, they steal extra bases, and they steal runs, right? So that's what good outfielders do. Anyone can do the routine shit.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude, for sure. I mean, I've had some rough outfields in my day, and it wasn't until my last year that I finally had the MLB The Show situation where I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, like yeah,
yeah. Oh, that ball's in the gap. Oh my God, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
he ran like all the way over there and got the ball. That's crazy.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Well, that's great, man. That's good to hear. I mean, hopefully we'll when you get back in the fall. We've got a bunch of stuff working where we can get on a field. So we'll definitely try to obviously help you get better and fix those things, those notes. My next question was going to be that, which was, what are your takeaways on the gaps in the training on stuff? Obviously, geographically on the field, making the throws, trusting the arm, knowing how it's going to go. Is there anything else that you feel that could set you up to the next level? And I know it's hard to say when you're in the middle of it.
Right, and then so let's see. Well, I just feel like I got to get bigger, faster, stronger at this point now, right? Just because I did what I had to do hitting wise, I did have to do defensive wise, right? Obviously, I still have way more in the tank to get my arm, right? But what I can really help take to our training and our guys is what I did to score runs, right? We talked about that earlier, is right, because before in live at bats, everyone just swinging, doing their thing, right? Because effort, but like come game time, right? There are things we can do when they're like we talked about, when you're not hitting. How are we going to score runs? And I think that's like the biggest thing we could do, because like a lot of people were scared to get to 2 strikes, and they were like, and even the big guys, my boy Mac, he's 6'6", right? He's filling it up. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes and hit his bombs that way. And he got rewarded for it. It was 2 strike, double, leaning on the gap, right? Or now when it's time to go bang, right? Hits first pitch fastball, hits a bomb, right? It was just those kinds of things I feel like I could really bring back to training. And obviously we're gonna go crazy with the eye pitch. I'm sure you guys already have, and we're gonna get crazy with that.
103 mile an hour curveball.
What was that?
103 mile an hour curveball.
Oh, there you go. Let's do it.
Like Dan Finer caught it.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going straight to the top of the cage, and so it's like this. It's like a sharp up, sharp down, like poof, poof, like just wild. What's that?
No one hit it yet?
Nobody, Well, hey, we got Hot Eat and those guys in there, man. You're gonna have to have a talk with them.
They won't try to hit that. Come on, first thing is, let me hit that. Come on.
Yeah, you got to show up early to hit, man. It will shell and goes,
Right.
Is what it is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Well, this has been great. You got any final takeaways that you want to add?
No, not really. I think we covered a lot of it. The training's been great, and the training's validated, right? And the training.
What about online? Let's do a little online segment, really. Let's talk about what our goals are. What's the focus of the online program for hitting? How can people get a hold of you? Let's get that clip in.
So, yeah, we have started the online program, right? And the biggest part of it is, like, we talked about having the golf caddy, right? So whether or not, like, I see your swing or not, right, especially in season, having someone to talk to and having someone to, like, look at your video or kind of give you some kind of mental adjustment. Because when it's in season, it's hardly ever a swing adjustment. It's mostly, mental, right? And, on how to evaluate your bats and how to do certain things, right? And it kind of just gives you confidence, just like, okay, I know what to do now, right? Okay, this guy's got my back, right? So, and it's kind of cool, like, if we, the online, I could get to talk about my experience as well. Like, some things I'm going through, some things I'm working on. Like, okay, if I'm popping balls up, now I got to do this, right? If I'm striking out, I got to do this. Like, oh, why did I not swing at that pitch? Or Why did I chase that? You know, I mean, it's those kind of questions, right? And we get really specific on like adjustments that we need to make. Like this year, what really helped me was talking to Chris Colabello, right? And there was one specific question that I asked him that no one really had given me an answer for. It was like, hey, Chris, it was like, I told him I chase a lot in 3-2 counts, right? And, you know, not a lot of hitters have that awareness on like what they're doing wrong already. But I realized that in 3-2 counts, I chase a lot, right? And that's when I really strike out, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And he goes, oh, dude, just look down the dick. Just look down the middle. If it's borderline, you know, it's 50% chance ball or strike, you know what I mean? You punch out anyway, right? Just look down the middle, right? Just actually make it smaller. Don't expand your zone 3 to actually make it smaller. I was like, oh, it makes a lot of sense, right? So then, boom, now I'm in a lot, lead off it, I'm in a lot of 3-2 counts, and I'm winning those 3-2 counts. I'm either fouling pitches off, I'm getting walked, I'm getting my knocks, something else, you know what I mean? It was just, I felt, all right, 3-2 count, all right, down the middle. It's just things like that people can give you, right? Chase Darno has been a good one for me. Damian Jackson has been a good guy for me to reach out. And mind you, these are guys that hadn't seen me play a game, hadn't seen me take a swing. I might send them a video or two, but they're able to just give me something to get me back on the right track and just give me more confidence going in. It's like, all right, I can do this.
I love that, man. Yeah, I'm very impressed with your ability to articulate the opposing side of what I'm doing. That's what we've always vibed about that high level thought process. And it's funny, you know, we've always talked about creating content inside of that and talking about what we're trying to do. And it's so funny because you are the ultimate opponent, as we like to call, you know, and being in that level, that competitive state. A lot of people that watch you and me battle don't even realize it because we're smiling the whole time too. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's also because, like, you know, I'm trying some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I know you're going to be ready for whatever.
Right.
If I go as basic as I possibly can, it's not going to work. So I can't do that. Yeah. And every once in a while, I'll have to do something crazy like throw 5 heaters in a row.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, what are we doing? And I'm like, I'm just trying to keep you fresh.
I remember one pitcher asked me, he's like, hey, how do I strike you out? How do I really, like, what can't you hit? And I was like, you're going to have to, like, backdoor something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the backdoor cutter, backdoor slider. I did get striking out on a changeup that started off ball to strike at the top of the zone, froze me 3-2, yeah. Right? It was those, and one time I struck out on an inside changeup, right? It looked like a fastball. I took a massive swing at it, and I was just early. But it was in the zone. It was painted. And same thing, I struck out on, like, one, like, backdoor slider. And I was like, okay, I couldn't swing at that. Anyway, that's a really good pitch, you know what I mean? So I was like, tell me anything else. And there's, you know, another pitcher that he was a really good pitcher. I think he just got picked up to the Atlantic League. We had a lot of battles, right? But he didn't really miss, right? He didn't miss middle. We had a lot of long at bats and stuff like that. I was like, all right. His name's Matt Reach. You know, I was like, all right, Reach, just fuck up one time. You know what I mean? Just make a mistake one time, because I know if you miss in the middle, I'm gonna smack it. Right? He never did. You know what I mean? There were a couple times he did, and, you know, a couple times he got me. But I just knew in that at bat, whatever he throws me, whatever pitch he throws me, if he misses in the middle, I'm gonna hit it. But he hardly ever did that, and that's what it, like, kind of took to really get me out. Other than that, I was just kind of like, oh, I missed it. No, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, even with your evolution, I wouldn't say that I was, like, dominating you at the beginning, but I would say there was, like, a challenge, you know. And then as we went, like, it just turned into, well, he knows all the tricks now, so what do we do now, you know? So, yeah, you know,
GM telling us to get off. GM telling you he needs you.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
Oh, I was wearing that shirt earlier.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, it was great, baby. That's probably the favorite one.
I want to say bye.
Who's that?
Say bye.
It's Ronan. How'd it go, Ron? Good, man. Have fun.
We learned to slur today.
Oh, dang. So for you guys that don't know, it's like we're just a baseball facility of learning, and for us, like, there's so many different ways to learn, to be successful, to explore your athleticism, but it all boils down to, did you score a run or did you let a run in? And, you know, being accountable for either one of those things will really let you sleep at night. The earned conversation, I'm over it. I hate it because you gave up the run. It was your fault. Yeah. You're on the mound. It doesn't mean anything. You know, down south, they don't even, they just count total runs given up. I'm not worried about earned.
A couple games where the other team blew because some guy dropped the ball in the outfield and we're going crazy, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. It was just like, oh, the guy's walking guys, but we're scoring runs and we're winning games. So that's really all that mattered to us. Was
Yeah, for
winning
sure.
and, you know, the kind of results kind of let them take care of themselves.
Definitely. All right, my friend. Well, this has been phenomenal. I think we've reached a good point today. You know, you keep it up. I hope some good things happen for you too. So tell us where you're headed. Like, what's the plan going forward right now? And what is the potential time frame we'll see you?
So from here, I think like mid-August is the signing deadline. So I'm gonna stay out here around, keep playing around Joe Torre. We're gonna play some game, you know, starting after 4th of July. We're gonna play like 3, 4, 5 games a week, right? Just playing mentally, get whatever baseball we can find. I already hit up Ferbs, and he, you know, pointed me to some places to go check out. But yeah, it's just staying ready now and you know, waiting for the right place, right time, right situation to open up, and you know, hopefully get a call and get some at bats in the partner league. That's it.
So, dude, you're the best. We miss you. We hope you're the best. I hope that you know you were able to become the ball hawk that you deserve and the leadoff man that everybody needs. So keep going, man. Stay strong out there.
Yep.
Obviously, you're going to a Yankee game, so your life's not that bad right now.
Life is great out here in the Bronx. It's fun.
Yeah, and it's pay week, so shout out to the Chilas.
There you go.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah. So love you, dude. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Please like and subscribe. Berto, we will be pumping out his story. I know we'll talk with Bentley and some stuff in there too, but I can't wait to get your story out for all of this as well. It should be really fun, definitely. So,
Yep.
all right, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one. See ya.